Thanks for joining us here at 9. I'm Justin Betty. Tonight, the city of Dilworth is one step closer to naming a new police chief. Of course, we've said that before. Last month, city of Dilworth offered their open police chief position to Milwaukee detective Justin Carloni. Last week, he rejected that offer. Valley News team Zachary Wine was at tonight's Dilworth City Council meeting where they decided what to do next.
After months of searching for police chief candidates, the city of Dilworth extended a job offer to Lieutenant Justin Carloni of Milwaukee back in March. But things took a turn last week.
Since that time, he has declined the offer, and I laid out in your staff report as far as what steps could be taken next by the city council.
Those next steps, presented to Dilworth City Council Monday evening, were simple. The city could try again, reopening applications for the position to try and find new candidates. The other option was to go with a candidate that was already waiting in the wings.
The people we hired gave us two good candidates, narrowed it down for us, and the one we offered to rejected it. That leaves us with candidate number 2.
That candidate is Hunter Rawson, who has been the acting chief in Dilworth since last May. He was in attendance at the council meeting Monday.
We hope you still want to stay here. I'm going to advocate for opening negotiations with the City Hall with Acting Chief Rawson.
The rest of the council agreed. Each member spoke up in favor of offering the job to Rawson. Mayor Chad Olson, who originally advocated for Carloni, made a motion to begin negotiations between the city and Rawson, adding that Rawson has his 100% support.
As we spent, well, $25,000 to go 25 feet. This is where the process has brought us. And regardless of anything else, we can always look at the process and say, here's where we are.
After discussion, the council voted unanimously to pass the motion. Reporting in Dilworth, Zachary Wyand, Valley News Live.